Oh, well, thanks very much, Anaru, for joining me today. Anaru's been training at BodyLean. How long have you been training at BodyLean for?
I think nearly a year now.
Nearly
Nearly,
12 months.
yeah, maybe about 10 months or so. Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask Anaru some questions and step you through kind of his journey and his results so far to date. But before we do that, just one of the first question for Anaru was, how are you feeling just before you started at BodyLean? How are you feeling about yourself, and maybe how are you feeling about thinking about joining BodyLean and what made you decide to join?
Yeah, at the time before I started, I was a bit chubby. I had kind of slacked off the training a bit, and the eating kind of was a bit downhill. I've always trained, done a lot of martial arts, jiu-jitsu, namely Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've always kind of trained. I've got a gym at home, so I've always trained at home. But my motivation was quite low because I'd been doing it for so long, and I'd kind of I just slackened off over time. I'd noticed that my training at home wasn't where it needed to be in regards to, I guess, my body shape, even my strength levels, endurance levels, and that they were right down. And that was despite the fact that I was still training a lot of jiu-jitsu at the time. So I knew that I had to make some nutritional changes, some dietary changes, but I also needed to ramp up my training. So I actually tried to apply that a program for myself and do it myself again. But I found, I just couldn't kind of break through. I couldn't keep the consistency up. I couldn't maintain, like consistency with the training, but I just couldn't maintain like diet and stuff, and I couldn't keep my motivation levels up. So I did some quick research online, looking for a personal trainer. I've trained with personal trainers before, um, but my view was is that I didn't want to actually join a gym per se, and like go back to, not to name names, but like say City Fitness. I trained there years ago, and I don't like the whole atmosphere of gyms. I like to kind of train by myself. Um, and that's kind of just what I like. So I thought, well, if I can find somewhere where somebody can come and train at my place, or I can train at a studio, and that's happened. No, actually happened to come across BodyLean, sent you a message, and I actually had a bit of trepidation at first because I knew kind of what it meant, like going to train with a personal trainer. I knew it was going to take me right out of my comfort zone. Um, and so, yeah, I did want to do it. I wanted to get the results, but I guess I didn't want to put myself through that because I hadn't trained so
Don't want to
long.
go through the pain.
Yeah, I don't want to go through the pain. I thought, so I kind of held off. It took me maybe about 3 weeks, I think, before I think I actually sent you a message, maybe, or gave you a call. I think, yeah, that's right.
I think a lot of people in the same boat as you, and like there is that fear factor around, oh, it's going to be too hard, or it's going to be beyond me. I'm not going to be able to keep up, and that's where just adapting and seeing who's in front of us, and putting it at the right level for them, but still make it like that fine balance between a hard session and the appropriate session as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. But I think because I was kind of so a bit out of shape, like I at the time I thought I knew I was out of shape, but I didn't realize how much out of shape I actually was. Like I wasn't kind of I was not as if I was obese or anything, but where I used to be, say like a year before I started training with you, to where I was when I did start training with you, yeah, it was night and day. I'd stacked on the weight, and I guess
Well, what
uh,
I'll do is I can put a photo up your before and afters down in the comments below. If you want me to, mate, show it off.
but
I mean,
hey,
it is quite impressive, the changes that you made in your physique. It's a huge difference.
yeah, it was, and the thing that I was really stoked about as well was the time frame that you were able to get me in that shape, and yeah, so I was really happy about that. So and my wife was as well. So yeah,
And then she joined us as well. Got a little bit jealous.
you did.
So because you came in at, your weight was, just off the top of my head, it was low 90s, right?
Yeah, it was. Or I was actually like mid 90s. I think it was.
90s.
Yeah, and well, I had actually started training before I went to train with you, and I kind of, because I knew I was going to get
That's right.
smashed.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to you, oh, I just try to get myself a little bit ready,
Yeah.
train again, get my body used to lactate in my legs and whatnot. And I think I started training for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I had managed to drop a couple of kgs in that 2 weeks, but I'd actually come down from like 97. It was like I was close to 100
Yeah.
kgs.
And then we dropped down to 82.
Well, we actually got down to, um, if we count before I went to the jiu-jitsu comp,
Yeah.
we actually got down to uh, 70, 79. Yeah,
79.
we got down to
It's a
79.
huge difference, man.
Yeah, from
It's
nearly
about
100
18
kg.
kg.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you kind of think what's been the best part for you about the training and the results as well that you've noticed for yourself?
Um, yeah, well, the best part is the programming. I enjoy the fact that I don't have to think. That's probably one of the main things. I just turn up and train. The other thing is that I'm held accountable for my training and what I do. And then when I go home, I'm held accountable as well in regards to what I eat. And I don't mean in terms of like accountable, like you ringing me every day or anything. But, in the initial stage when I started, I had regular weigh-ins. Um, so you made me accountable every session for my weight, for my training, what I was doing, and how I was applying that at the gym, but also at home in terms of like what I was eating, when I was eating, how I was eating. And so I was able to make those changes because I felt I needed to be hitting my goals every session. And so I worked really hard on that. And then as the weeks went on, it became easier and easier. And then eventually I'd made, a lifestyle change, and I'd stop eating a lot of junk, drinking beers, during for dinner. I'd go, oh yeah, I trained today. When I wasn't training with you, I'd go, oh, I trained today, so I can have like 2 beers when I have dinner. But then it ended up being like 3. And it wasn't every day, but when you add that up over, say, like a month, those beers ended up adding up and all that stuff. So once I was able to kind of get rid of that stuff, get consistency was the thing as well. You kept on me about, the fact that I had to get to every session. And so I worked really hard to fit it all in around I fit my schedule around training, which was one of the best things I could have done, because then I was able to get the consistency um, in both the training and then when I got home. And so it all kind of just came together quite well. Um, and the other thing I found too is that I thought initially that the training would affect my jiu-jitsu in a way where I wouldn't be able to train as much jiu-jitsu because I thought I'd be too fatigued. But then it ended up being that my fitness levels came up to like such a really good level that I was able to train with you, then play touch, and then go to jiu-jitsu in the same day. And that wasn't every day, obviously, but I was able to do that. And then my jiu-jitsu consistency increased as well, because I stopped making excuses about not going to training. I started going to jiu-jitsu more often because I had the fitness levels, and I had the strength levels, and I had the endurance levels to not just go to jiu-jitsu and just train, but I was able to perform at a really high level. And then that carried on, and it's been, nearly a solid year now, and I've just had, really good results.
And I think that's a lot of that's down to there's quite a few factors for that, but one of them is dialing in the nutrition so that your recovery rate is so much better, and then structuring the program in such a way that it doesn't take away your energy from other aspects, because we know what the priorities are. So if we go, okay, we're going to train our resistance style this way, which won't influence the jiu-jitsu, and then there's other social stuff that you were able to do as well, just on top.
Yeah, like I said, that kind of came just like part and parcel of the training, because once I got consistent and I was able to maintain that consistent training schedule, because I was training so often and so frequently and getting really good results in the gym, then when I came home, I was like, I don't want to eat crap anymore, because I know that it's going to affect my abilities during the week and how I train. And so all that kind of, married together. And then I got, it was like the result wasn't just in terms of the physical results, but just in terms of like how I was looking as well. That was
It's always good motivation.
well, it is,
See
especially
yourself in the mirror.
when the boys at jits, they start noticing, oh man, this guy's getting abs.
The old fella. So if just one more question, we'll wrap it up. So if someone was kind of on the fence thinking about, I don't know if BodyLean's the right place for me, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I'd just say, give it a shot. Like, for me, like going to train at a studio was something kind of a little bit out of the box for me, because I'd never actually done that before. I'd always just gone to the gym, trained by myself, or trained with a mate, or trained at home. And so that's kind of what I was used to. But then what I actually did was looked at my results over the years. And what I found is that my results were always like this. They were up and down and up and down. And what I realized is that I couldn't get consistent results training by myself. I found that was just me. Like, one day, say like on a Monday, I could train and hit the ceiling, but I couldn't do that again that week, and it was like that ongoing. And then come in to train at BodyLean and train with yourself. I found, you made me accountable every session. You made me hit the ceiling every session. So I was leaving, buggered, but a good buggered, not where I was wrecked to the point where I couldn't walk or anything. But I knew that I had trained. I knew I'd pushed myself. And then that consistency and that ability for you to get the best out of me, that got me the results that I got. And I hadn't had those for years. And so to anybody that would be, like you said, on the fence about joining, my personal view is, if they want results and they want to get there fast, then give you a call and work something out and go down and train. Because I know for a fact, speaking from my own personal experience, that I wouldn't have got to the level that I am at now without your help. And that's just a fact. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I appreciate it. Enjoy training you. And hopefully when all those lockdowns all done and dusted, we'll catch up again.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to getting back. But, that's the other thing. You've kept me updated with programs this whole time as well. So that's another point worth noting. And the last 3 weeks we've been locked down, I've got huge strength gains, which is, and I've
try my very best to make sure it's not something about when I only see and talk to you when you're in the gym, that we stay in contact with each other when we're outside the gym as well. Because if you're only focused on that 1 hour twice a week that we're training, and then that's it, then you miss a big picture of it. So even though we're in lockdown, stay in contact, making sure you've got a program that you can stay consistent, staying on nutrition so your results roll through, rather than going backwards and then go, okay, let's pick up the pieces.
And that's been another factor too, man, is like, you kept me accountable as well during the whole lockdown. Like, week 1, I just wanted to drink a few beers and relax like everyone else. But I got out, did work with the kids around the house, and then I kept my training consistent, and I haven't missed a session yet. And that's due to the fact that you keep emailing me, texting me, keeping in constant contact. And like I said, you held me accountable. And so 3 weeks into the lockdown, like I said, I've got huge strength gains. I'm much stronger than I was before the lockdown. And so, and that's testament to the ability for you to get the best out of me, I guess, even though we're not seeing each other, at the gym at your place, but you're still able to keep me motivated. But, I guess I'm lucky I've got a gym at home. But in saying that, I know other people that do, and they're not using them. So
everyone's knocking on your door.
Yeah,
All right, man, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks very much, brother. And we'll be in touch soon.